Okay, it's me again, the guy who's going to talk a lot about his art today. And in all honesty, I didn't think I would be doing another one of these right after the last one, but this specific idea is one that I feel needs to be talked about because, for me anyway, every new idea that comes with this one just points to like a whole new philosophy of things and a way of thinking, which thinking's on this side, and then feelings on this side, and then reality on that side. It's the idea is clear, but what do you call it? The execution is difficult for me. It's difficult for me to choose how I want to do it. The drawing itself, while it's difficult in its own way, I feel like I can at least put pencil on paper, and get it done. But I don't know how I want to do it just yet because of what this is saying. And I guess I'll talk about the mistakes first off, which is I ran out of room over here on this side, so I kind of shrunk his arm. He doesn't look like he has a wrist. And I wasn't willing to just erase the whole thing and shift it over a bit, so it's gonna have to go with that. But after doing that, I noticed that this brain is... Yesterday I had the idea of him holding it this way specifically, and him holding the heart specifically upwards like that. But the idea that came to me was his arms are a little too stretched out to be not in pain or not doing something, I feel. He's not just holding them. It's almost... Of course, the idea is for him to be in pain, but if I forgot that for a second and just thought about him holding these two things, it made me think maybe there's something else making him stretch like this, making him hold these things. I thought about chains, either upwards or downwards, but that didn't really stick with me for very long. I thought about things pulling him, maybe this pulling him that way, this pulling him that way, and I didn't like that idea too much either. But I did draw his arms long enough to be stretched and extended in that way to make it look like that. So that's one way of thinking. And then the other was, because his arms are too long, I thought about, if anyone doesn't know, there's going to be a bone in his mouth here, and the bone's going to be cracked. So I thought about cracking his arms off, like a breakage type of thing, having this one up and this one down, just to make it fit a bit more to where he's not stretched out like that. I thought about that idea, but if I went that way, I'd have to get rid of my background idea, which was also another breakage thing, but to show three different forms of being, I feel. So I could go that way as well. And the other is to leave it like this, but just me wondering why, or having the audience wonder, why is he holding this brain like it's trying to float up from him? And why is he holding this heart like it's weighing him down? So I think I'm going to keep this idea for this side, because I do want blood to be sort of dripping down. But if there's going to be like some sort of symmetry with this, I would want something to go upwards. And I thought about doing words or numbers to show like wisdom, maybe a language, or not language, knowledge, in some way or form going upwards and having blood go down. That could be a way, but if I forgot that for a second, I wondered, why would he hold the brain down? Because usually, there's an argument to be made about people keeping their minds in check or whatever. But if that's the case for that side, why would the heart... Well, that makes sense too, though, the heart being weighed down. Sure, that makes sense, but people don't typically hold their mind down. Usually if you're like to overthink or whatever, or just have a future and all that, you want the brain to go up, I feel. And so yeah, that's just what I got stumped with. Why would he be resisting that? This side sort of makes sense. It doesn't matter if he was to hold the heart up or down, because feelings are a different story from knowledge, and they both very much influence each other. So I can understand if anybody has a different way to look at it, which this is why I ended up recording this, because it's a lot of, I would say every way of thinking, really. It's every way of thinking how, and nobody's wrong if they decided whatever with whatever. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that isn't too confusing. But yeah, that's just where I was. And I felt it was something worth talking about because, yeah, I was sitting too long at it. And at this point, I need to get back to drawing. So I think these sort of long videos are going to be just, it's going to happen whenever I sit at the paper for too long, sit and stare at the paper for too long. And yeah,